if I did forget. But I remember. Because I think today's lecture will be quite important for your final exam. Final exam?
Next week, right?
Next week, next Friday is our final exam. This class, is brutal for this class, this semester because we lost 3 Fridays compared to the other full semester classes. We lost 2 Fridays because of holidays, and then we lost another one because of final exam. So we only have, instead of a 16-week class, this is more like a 13-week class. Which is kind of a push, but I think we got all the important topics down, so that's good. We are not done with records, but I think that's okay. I don't think it's going to be a big problem when you move on to cisp300a. And that also reminds me to go to the ARC website and point out, in case people do not know yet, but I think this may be too late for some people already. Since you're in this class, I am suspecting that most of you want to transfer or not want to get into cisp300. So if you go to the schedule, look under CISP from ARC. cisp300 has 3 sections, just in case people do not know what TBA means. TBA basically means online, okay? It is not face-to-face. This section, according to the students of my Tuesday, Thursday students, this is already full. The class has closed, which means you can't even get onto the wait list at this point. If you have not signed up yet, that class is closed. As far as people are concerned, who have not signed up for this class, it's not even on the catalog anymore because you can't even sign up.
People have appointments, priority appointments that don't start until like the 7th.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't get a chance. That means you do not even get a chance to get into that class.
Oh wow,
Yeah, that sucks. That's 2 semesters in a row of that shitty side.
Well, there's not much I can do about the prioritization.
What you can do is you can talk to the people who run the algorithms that determine which students go where.
Yeah, but they don't listen to us, because we work here. So the more reason not to listen, right? I mean, so you guys have to complain because you ultimately is the clientele, and you will be the ones, who actually have to say, this is not serving, the students, because of this. So anyway, the other 2 sections, as far as my, students told me, they are not closed yet. So, but you have to be careful because with the other 2 sections, the both of those are taught by Damon Antos. D. Antos is Damon Antos. Both of these have, if you look at the lecture portion, this is the lecture portion, and it has no time, which means it is entirely online. Okay, so how do you do a lecture online? Well, you can kind of do that. If I record all my lectures, just the way I do it in the class, I can still kind of do it online, except there won't be any interaction because nobody is interacting with me, unless you guys all log in at the same time and text me while I'm talking about the topics. Then we can still have like online lectures. Unfortunately, the so-called online lectures here are basically just you are going to read your notes online. Okay. It's a little bit better than just reading a book because, the instructor may have additional material for you to read in addition to a book. But you can also see that a part of the lab is also online, which means you're going to do your homework also online partially. The lab portion that is not online, and for this section, it is kind of the same time frame like this class except 1 hour later, is from 9 a.m. to 11:50 a.m. on Fridays. So about every week for about 3 hours, you come onto the campus. You go to room 128. Room 28 is on the other side of this aisle, and 128 has computers for each student. So you can actually do your homework in the classroom because we have 1 computer for each student. And if you have any questions during that process, the instructor will be there to answer your question. I have talked to Damon already, and he said that he's going to kind of mix in a little bit of lecture during the lab as well. In other words, not only are you going to do your lab, but he will also have some quote unquote guided activities during the lab time, which means it is not optional. Okay, but that makes CISP 360 kind of challenging because 360 is a full programming class. In this class, we don't do any programming. What you guys have been doing is tracing, which is entirely different from writing a program. Because when you write a program, you will encounter multiple types of problems, like syntax, logic, the tools themselves, and so on and so forth. Okay, so a lot of times, when you're taking a programming class, you have to allocate quite a bit more time than with a lecture-only class, even with homework. Okay. So that means you don't have, if you have not signed up yet, because it is not, you cannot even sign up for any classes yet. You only have these two choices left.
Which ones?
Okay, the first one is this one here.
Online only.
Partially online and have the lab on Friday in the morning, kind of like this class.
Okay.
And then the other one is Tuesday, Thursday. Let's see, Tuesday, Thursday in the evening, from 5:30 p.m. to 6:50 p.m. Basically the same nature, except it breaks up into two meetings in a week. So there you go. And knowing Damon has a lot of homework assignments. Basically one homework assignment per week. But it is good. Okay, that's a good thing because for a class like this, you cannot really fall behind. You really have to make sure that you understand and clear the topics away, on a weekly basis. Out of these two classes, I know that I would take the Tuesday Thursday class, or prefer the Tuesday Thursday one because it meets twice a week, just so that I have twice in a week I can meet with the instructor. Okay, whereas the other one is a Friday-only class, kind of like this one, except the difficulty of the class is a bit more than this class. Okay, any questions about CISP 360, other than you guys do not like the fact that you cannot sign up for the first one anymore? Yep.
Would it be a bad idea to skip a semester to take 360 right away?
If you skip a semester, there's no guarantee that you can take it. You can take the section that you want in the fall. Okay, it depends on why you're skipping a semester. If you're skipping a semester because you cannot get into a fully face-to-face class, if that's the reason, I think that's kind of.
No, that's not the reason.
Oh, okay. In general, I would not do that. Because if you skip one semester, that means you're also skipping the summer, because I'm not sure whether it is offered in the summer. Okay, so that means you won't be doing any sort of programming for about 8 months. So by the time you get back to school and take this class again, then many of the concepts that we teach in this class as a prep class for P360, you might have forgotten about those stuff already. So that makes picking up programming a little bit harder if you stop for not one semester, but one semester plus the summer. I think it may be offered in the summer, but the summer section of this class is going to be very intense. I think it meets 4 days a week, because basically you're compressing a 16-week class into what?
8 weeks.
Into 8 weeks. So it's extremely intense if you take it in the summer. If you don't have anything else to do in the summer, it's not bad. Okay, if you're just a student, not having a job, not having anything else to do in the summer, then this is the only class you're taking, that's okay. It's not a problem. But if you have other stuff to do, taking this over the summer can be intense. So I would seriously think about taking it, in the spring, so that you can just get it over with. Okay, for people who cannot get into CISP 360 but don't want to skip a semester without any programming classes, CISP 370 is not a bad choice. Okay, it's Visual Basic. It does not count for your computer science degree or whatever degree you are seeking. But it is still programming, and this one is kind of fun because there's a whole lot of GUI, graphical user interface programming. So you can make forms, you can make make forms that have buttons, text boxes, and list boxes, drop down boxes, and whatnot. And it's just a good class, to.
Why
take.
Why doesn't it come with your CISP?
Because it's not the same as C. If you have to talk to your counselor, depending on what your major is, whether CISP 370 can substitute for 360. I don't think it is.
360 anyway, but I'm thinking 370 this semester.
Okay. Well, which degree are you trying to get?
I want to do software engineering.
Well, then you want the computer science degree for transfer purposes, right? So for you, what you need to do is to go to assist.org. You already know this, right? No? They don't tell you about assist.org?
Nope.
It's basically your completely personalized, counselor, which is a great resource. So what you do is you click on a particular college, let's say American River College, and then you say, okay, what are the agreements between ARC and another campus? Let's just say, UC Davis, okay? So UC Davis down here, and you pick your major, okay? So for us, it's probably either computer science and engineering, computer engineering, or electrical engineering. I think for some people, are there any math majors here? Okay, so for math majors, you have your own, you can look under your item too. I actually just look at that one too, and it's quite interesting and also very informative. Let's say you're just going for a bachelor's degree once you transfer to UC Davis. So basically, you can look at, read the fine prints first. Okay, obviously, it's there for a reason. But after you read the fine prints, you can see, how the classes match up, over here. Math 21A over at UC Davis is Math 400 here. Okay, so they make a one-to-one correspondence to the classes that you can transfer one for one. In other words, you're not just transferring the units; you're transferring the actual course. In this case, you can see that. Okay, cisp 300 is not even listed here because they start with 360. So cisp 360, which is our Introduction to Structured Programming, is equivalent to ECS 30 over there. Okay, but you don't see cisp 370 here because they don't have a equivalent class over there, to accept the articulation. Okay. But this is a really, really good resource as far as planning is concerned because you can actually take a look at different alternatives. Okay, what if I want to transfer to EE? Okay, you can just hit your back button here, go to EE, Electrical Engineering, Bachelor of Science, and look at that list instead. It's going to be about the same. You can see all the calculuses are here, all the physics classes are here, and then the programming classes are all here as well. So that gives you a pretty good idea of what classes, if you can, take it here, and then you can transfer the class over there. P300 is not on the list because this is just a prep class for 360. In other words, if you go to UC Davis, you don't get a class like this one. You start with CISP 360. Okay, are we getting a pretty good idea of how to find out what classes you should take? Assist.org, yes. They should have named it my own advisor.org, my own counselor.org. Yep.
I was told by a counselor at the beginning of the semester that when you do see a course number that begins with 3 or higher, that it is the equivalent of a state level university course.
300 or more here.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it might not necessarily map to a class over there. It just the credits transfer.
Yeah.
So you can still transfer the credits.
Yeah.
That